Hey, I'm Hunt, and this is Hunt on LSU, your channel for LSU Fighting Tiger football talk. Enjoy the video. We want you to leave a comment below, hit that like button, and subscribe right below the video. Enjoy. But I want to start with something that I don't think we have discussed very much about LSU's fall camp this year. I feel like we've talked a lot about the secondary. I think we've talked about the depth at running back. I think we've talked about Harold Perkins. I think we've talked about Malik Neighbors, the ascent of Aaron Anderson. I think there have been a lot of storylines that we've navigated in this fall camp, but one of the things that we haven't really talked about much is quarterback play. And that's probably less interesting. I mean, I think there's probably a little more debate going on in Tuscaloosa or Oxford or Athens about, well, who's taking the snaps this year? What's it going to look like? What can they be on offense? And if you're LSU, you're kind of sitting here going, yeah, Daniels is the quarterback, and he's coming back. He's a guy who started for 4 years. And, yeah, Nussmeier, I mean, thought he looked pretty good against Georgia and Purdue, and he's the backup. And you got a freshman, Ricky Collins, and you got a couple really solid commitments coming in. It's kind of a boring deal, and that's a good thing, I think. I know it's a good thing to have that kind of confidence and that kind of, security at the quarterback spot. But Garrett Nussmeier did talk with the media this week, and Brian Kelly spoke about the quarterbacks a little bit. So I kind of wanted to listen to some of their thoughts and kind of opine on my thoughts on their thoughts, I guess you could say. And this was Brian Kelly talking about giving the quarterbacks a little more control over the offense.
You know, when you have an incumbent quarterback, certainly, Daniels and Nussmeier, obviously, they can run the offense. They can get you into and get you out of bad plays. They make the coach look really good. And that's the honest truth. This offense and its structure is set to eliminate negative plays, and they have the ability to control it. So we've given them more control this year in the running game as well, where they're setting the running game a little bit more as well. So I would give a lot of it to the quarterback and his ability to run this offense with a lot more confidence and control.
It just makes sense that they would have a lot more control over the offense and a lot better grasp on the offense. Think about what LSU has dealt with at the quarterback spot over the last 3 years or so. Max Johnson's in, and then he leaves. And you had Jake Peets in, and he's gone after a year. And then you think it's Miles Brennan's offense. And then he gets hurt, and he can't play. And TJ Finley's in and out. And then all of a sudden, you got Nussmeier, and you think he's going to be the answer to play a little bit, and he plays one game, and then all of a sudden you bring him out, and then you've got, there's a transfer to Max Johnson, and then, you bring in Jaden Daniels out of nowhere, and you've got a new offensive coordinator because you've got a new head coach, and here comes, Mike Denbrock to call the plays, and you've had musical chairs at quarterback and offensive coordinator since Burrow left. Period. How are you supposed to get a better grasp on the offense if, one, you're a new player into the program, whether you're a freshman or a transfer, or two, you've got a new coach every year? You can't develop that kind of continuity, that kind of trust between coach and player. And now, finally, you look up and, you do have that. And you've got a proven commodity in Jaden Daniels. And you've got a capable backup in Garrett Nussmeier. But with that continuity that you feel like you have in December of 2022, all of a sudden, because of this day and age in college football, you have to look up and go, Nussmeier's probably going to leave. Walker Howard, I don't know if he's going to be there or not. Daniels might go to the NFL. You can't really feel like it's going to last longer than one season. And that's what we thought. I was very candid. I was very open. I was on the air. I said, listen, I don't have any inside information. I don't have any inside source. I certainly have not spoken to the players or the coaches. This is a hunch I have based on the generation that we live in right now and the era of college football that we're smack in the middle of. I just don't feel like Garrett Nussmeier is going to be around if Jaden Daniels comes back. That's what I said, because that just made sense based on the era of college football. But instead, Garrett Nussmeier said, I'm not going anywhere. And if Casey will play number 2 here, he said, not only am I not going anywhere, that wasn't even a difficult decision.
I don't think it was that hard of a decision for me. This is where I want to be. My roots are in this state. This is my home, and it means something to me to represent LSU and to represent this state and these fans. And also, with my teammates and coaches, I've learned to build relationships with the new staff, and I have a lot of love for them. And also with my teammates, I wanted to finish what we started.
It's a great answer. I don't know if he ever wavered or thought elsewhere or what. But it certainly is a great answer, and certainly it's interesting to me that he feels as strongly as he does about the state of Louisiana. He's always said that he feels like he's from Louisiana, even though his dad's coached everywhere in Dallas and Tuscaloosa and up in the Midwest. Like, his dad's been everywhere. And so he grew up a lot of different places, but he feels a connection to LSU. So that's why when he played his high school football in Texas, he's still committed to Louisiana State University and decided he was going to stick it out and play here. And so when he says it's an easy decision to come back, you realize that sure, you've got every opportunity to take reps in spring ball and work out in the summer and be there in the fall. But the fact of the matter is that Brian Kelly said back in the spring that Jaden Daniels was a starting quarterback. He did not mince words. He did not try to keep everybody happy and kind of be coy about things. He said, no, Jaden Daniels is our starting quarterback. And so Garrett Nussmeier said the decision to come back is easy. Well, then what do you expect to get out of your third year in college?
What I wanted to get out of this year is the same that I want to get out of any year. It's just continuing to get better, never accepting of what I am, and I'm always in competition with what I have the potential to be, not with what I am now. And I think that's kind of the mindset that I've taken.
That answer is cliche and vanilla, but what it shows me is there's a maturity there. And that's what you want. Nowadays in college football, because of the volatility of the position, quite often a backup quarterback's going to be a young player. Now, that won't be the case in Oxford this year. You got Jackson Dart, who's been a starter, and you got Spencer Sanders, who's been in college for 413 years. So they'll have a veteran backup no matter who it is. And Texas A&M will have a guy that's a backup that has played, whether it's Wigman or Johnson. We think Johnson will be the backup, and he's certainly not young. But more often than not, your second-team quarterback is going to transfer out, and that leaves a freshman or redshirt freshman to be the next guy. And LSU's got a third-year player who's exceptionally mature. And every answer that he gave this week kind of reflected that maturity. And I thought this one did as well when he talks about, hey, there's a guy in front of you that's the starting quarterback and you're not, but what do you think of him? Sorry, Casey, you don't have that one. It's number four.
He's done a great job leading, and we all push each other. There's no time to slip up. We're always competing. We're always pushing each other to be the best that we can be, and I think it's been good. There's a good dynamic in the room. Ricky's done a great job since he's got here. He's learning, he's growing, and he's doing really well.
And he's talking about Ricky Collins. He's talking about Jaden Daniels, and I do think there is significant value in the quarterbacks getting along. It's not always going to be the case. There's a lot of competition there. It's not like running back where they can all play. It's not like LSU's baseball team where everybody kind of gets their opportunity to DH or play first or get out there in left field or whatever. There's one guy that's the quarterback. And if you aren't that guy and you have an anticipation that you're going to be that guy and then that's taken away from you, there can be animosity and it can be kind of toxic. I'm not proclaiming to ever sat in a quarterback room, but that's just human nature, is to feel like, this guy's beating me out. I could do better than that. I'm not going to help him. Anything that he does good hurts me. Because you could think of Garrett Nussmeier, hey, Jaden Daniels go out there and here's this new aggressive offense that LSU wants to play, and he turns it over 4 times in the first 2 games. And now I get a chance to play, so that's not the worst thing in the world. But instead it feels like they're all on the same page and they're all working together. And I think that's easier to do. Perhaps. This is me kind of stretching a little bit. Maybe that's easier to do if you feel like you've got a great team that can accomplish great things. And I go back to Jay Johnson in January of this year talking about the championship teams and the way that they acted and the way that they had to handle themselves, understanding that you're going to have to sacrifice a little bit, but you're going to maybe have to step up at a given moment. And if you were to do the same operation and go back to LSU from a quarterback perspective, you could easily go back to 2011 or 2007 and realize that the backup quarterback that year had to do a lot. In 2007, Ryan Perrilloux had to go play the SEC championship game and win it. In 2011, the starting quarterback got suspended for the first half of the season. And the backup quarterback had to go out there and start LSU undefeated, had to go beat Oregon, had to go beat West Virginia, had to beat Florida, had to beat Auburn. That's a big deal. And maybe Garrett Nussmeier feels like, yeah, I'm not the starting quarterback, but I have to be ready because maybe we've got a chance to do something really special this season.
The sky's the limit for us this year. If we handle things the right way, if we do things the right way. Our defense is ridiculous. There's so many athletes, so many dogs on that defense. It's scary, and it makes us better as an offense. When we go against them, it's hard. It's not easy in practice. And so, when we go play on Saturdays, it's going to make the game easier than it is, at practice. And so, there is no limit on what we could accomplish this year as long as we handle things the right way and take things the right way and handle it week by week and focus on what we need to focus on. And, I'm really excited.
Maybe it's easier to hone in on a role when you feel like your team's got a chance to do great things. Either way, there's value to me in having coaches' sons on a team. They know that tough decisions have to be made. They know that everybody's not going to be happy all the time. They know that sometimes things are hard. They haven't been catered to their whole life more often than not. It's not every situation is uniform and exactly the same, but there's value in that, and you understand that it probably helps his demeanor to know that he's been around coaching his entire life with a dad who's been very successful in coaching football. So I was impressed with a lot of things that Garrett Nussmeier had to say this week to the media, and I think he's got a really, really bright future ahead at LSU, whether that's helping out this team win games or being the guy next year. Either way, I think he's got a chance to be a really, really good one. Hey, thanks for watching Hunt on LSU. Before you get out of here, do us a couple of favors. Hit that like button, leave your comments below, and subscribe to the channel for all your Fighting Tiger football talk. See you next time.